I would want to know who was Radhakrishnan Pillai before he became Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai.
I come from a community called the Nayar community in Kerala.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know about this for the viewers also. It's a community which is called matriarchal system. So woman is the head of the family. So after marriage, the boy goes and stays in the girl's house.
Okay, is it?
मेरे पिताजी
अच्छा
शादी करके मेरी मम्मी के घर पे है.
How amazing is that?
So when they decide to have this one child, they decide कि लड़का हो या लड़की एक ही करेंगे.
Okay.
And interestingly लड़का हुआ फिर भी नाम रखा लड़की. So Radha,
yes.
That's how my friends call me. But I'll tell you very frankly, in my school days I was not very happy with my name.
Okay.
Imagine everybody's calling me Radha.
Did you get bullied a lot?
But then I like the second part Krishna because my grandfather's name was Krishna.
Okay.
My father's father. So my grandmother said, कुछ भी रहो Krishna होना चाहिए.
Krishna होना चाहिए. But then such a powerful name, na Radhakrishnan.
So if you look at me, before Radhakrishnan Pillai was a very normal person, aspiring, middle class. पढ़ाई लिखाई करो, जिंदगी बन जाए.
चाणक्य, तेनालीरामा, बिरबल, जब भी आप इन लोगों के बारे में सोचते हो तो क्या सोचते हो? ये बंदे कितने स्मार्ट थे, कितने इंटेलिजेंट थे, उनका जो थॉट प्रोसेस था एक नेक्स्ट लेवल के ऊपर ही काम करता था. और ये सब बड़े बड़े राजाओं के लिए स्पेशल वजीर टाइप थे. अभी हम जब इनका थॉट प्रोसेस सोचते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है क्या हम कभी वो लेवल तक पहुंच पाएंगे? आज के हमारे जो गेस्ट थे उन्हें चाणक्य नीति को ब्रेक डाउन करके 20+ बुक्स उन्होंने लिखा है. आज के गेस्ट जो हमारे हैं डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई. He's been out there since so long. 20+ books, TEDx speaker. He is into spirituality, he's into finance, he's into thought process. I think आज के जो यूथ है वो उनको बहुत ज्यादा मानते हैं. I'm pretty sure आप भी एक्साइटेड हो आपके पॉडकास्ट के लिए. बट आज का जो पॉडकास्ट रहेगा थोड़ा अलग रहेगा बिकॉज आज वो आके ऑफकोर्स लीडरशिप, स्पिरिचुअलिटी, उसके सब के बारे में हम बात करेंगे. बट हु वाज राधाकृष्ण बिफोर ही बिकेम डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई? ये एक्चुअली इंडिया में पहली बार एनी पॉडकास्ट के ऊपर आप पता करोगे कि डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई बनने के पहले राधाकृष्ण कौन थे, उनका फैमिली बैकग्राउंड क्या था, उनके फादर कैसे थे. ही इज अ टीचर ऑफ चाणक्य नीति, ही इज अ बेस्ट सेलिंग ऑथर, ही इज अ TEDx एंड जोश टॉक स्पीकर, एंड ही इज अ कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनर. दैट इज अ लॉट टू अचीव. यस, ही इज डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई. सो वेल, मेक श्योर दैट यू एंजॉय द पॉडकास्ट ऑल द वे टिल द एंड. Welcome, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Kabirr Vani. I've been actually following a lot of tasks when I started this podcast. I had a Google board, और उसके ऊपर है ना मैंने नाम लिख के रखे थे. I won't tell other people's name, but I'll tell one of the names was yours. And I'm so glad that you are here with me today. And
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Yes, my visualization was there. Of course, I'm a huge believer in that, and nothing can prove it. Right? आप मेरे साथ आज बैठे हो, so thank you again. आपके मैंने बहुत सारे पॉडकास्ट है, राइट? आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट यू हैव अनलिमिटेड अमाउंट ऑफ पॉडकास्ट विद बियर बाइसेप्स और रणबीर अलाहाबादिया, फ्यू अदर दैट आई हैव सीन. सब पॉडकास्ट के अंदर ना आपने इतना सारा डिटेल्स दिया. यू हैव गिवन अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिटी, यू हैव गिवन अबाउट फाइनेंस, यू हैव गिवन अबाउट कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग, आपने बहुत सारा नॉलेज जो है दिया है. बट ये सब के अंदर ना मैंने एक चीज नोटिस की, उसके अंदर डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई तो है, फ्रेंड राधाकृष्ण कौन है ना वो पता नहीं चला हमें. सो व्हाट्स योर लाइफ जर्नी? एंड आई थिंक आज का जो पॉडकास्ट है, आई वांट टू स्टार्ट इन दैट वे वेयर आई वुड वांट टू नो के हु वाज राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई बिफोर ही बिकेम डॉक्टर राधाकृष्ण पिल्लाई. एंड इवन बिफोर दैट आई नो दैट यू वर वेरी कनेक्टेड विद योर डैड, एंड आई एम सो सॉरी फॉर योर लॉस. सो हाउ अबाउट हम शुरू से शुरू करते हैं, एंड लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम योर फादर एंड योर चाइल्डहुड.
Thank you so much. First of all, I love your podcast and especially the name Kabirr Vani.
Thank you.
Because that's one person that inspired me, the thoughts of Kabir, and of course the thoughts of this Kabir also. It's an honor to be on the show.
Thank you.
You have this journey of Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai and Radhakrishnan Pillai.
Right.
I like to go one step even behind. The journey of Radha becoming Radhakrishnan Pillai,
Okay,
and then becoming Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai.
let's go.
So single child, no brother, no sister. So माँ पिताजी का लाडला नहीं था. Even though I was a single child, my father and mother decided to have one child.
Okay,
And I come from a community called the Nayar community in Kerala.
okay,
And I don't know if you know about this for the viewers also. It's a community which is called matriarchal system.
okay.
So woman is the head of the family.
अच्छा.
So after marriage, the boy goes and stays in the girl's house.
Okay, is it?
Yeah.
तो लड़का एक्चुअली लड़की के घर में जाके रहेगा।
मेरे पिताजी
अच्छा,
शादी करके मेरी मम्मी के घर पे है।
how amazing is that?
So when they decide to have this one child, they decide कि लड़का हो या लड़की,
हाँ,
एक ही करके।
okay,
And interestingly लड़का हुआ, फिर भी नाम रखा लड़की का। So Radha,
Radha, yes,
that's how my friends call me.
okay,
But I'll tell you very frankly, in my school days, I was not very happy with my name.
okay.
Imagine everybody's calling me Radha.
Did you
Radha,
get bullied a lot?
Radha. But then I like the second part, Krishna, because my grandfather's name was Krishna.
Okay,
My father's father. So my grandmother said, कुछ भी रखो, Krishna होना चाहिए.
Krishna होना चाहिए. But then such a powerful name, na, Radhakrishnan.
Now it's become like I love the name.
Of course. We all do.
So journey is like, I think it is before and after Chanakya.
Okay.
So like the world looks at pre and post COVID. So if you look at me, before Radhakrishnan Pillai was a very normal person, aspiring, middle class. पढ़ाई लिखाई करो, जिंदगी बन जाएगी। जिंदगी में क्या करना है?
तो इसके अंदर ना मेरे को एक चीज आपको पूछना है। दो तरीके के बच्चे होते हैं, ठीक है? एक बच्चा होता है जो बहुत मार खाता है और एक बच्चा होता है जो सिर्फ पढ़ाई करता है। आप कौन से वाले थे?
मैं दोनों का कॉम्बिनेशन था।
अच्छा, मिक्स था सबका। पापा ने बहुत मारा है,
बहुत अलग तरीके से मारा है।
ओके,
See, मारना is not just physical. He used to intellectually beat me up.
ओके,
So since you asked about my father, I consider myself so lucky. Physically, he's not around now, but there is not a single day that goes without me remembering the discussions that we had.
वाह,
So जब हमारे घर पे इतने डिबेट्स होते हैं, एक तो मियाँ बीवी का डिबेट, पिताजी और बच्चों का डिबेट, but I enjoyed the debates that I had with my father.
ओके,
See, he was an engineer by qualification, by profession, but he was a philosopher by passion.
वाह,
And he used to meditate almost like 10 to 12 hours a day. तो आप सोचो ऐसे परिवार में ऐसे पिताजी जो पढ़ने को तो बोलते हैं, पढ़ाई नहीं किया तो मारते हैं, बट पढ़ाई किया तो फिलोसॉफिकल पढ़ाई नहीं किया तो और अपसेट होता है।
ओके,
I remember, he had a full life. He almost lived till 90.
माशाल्लाह,
And you'll be surprised that he saw all my glory,
right,
my success. In fact, when I got a governor's award at the Raj Bhavan, he was there.
okay,
And one day he comes home and tells me, remember, I'm happy with your success, but you have to make sure one day you leave it all.
oh,
Imagine a father who is happy and tells you, yes, sir, temporary.
हाँ,
When are you going to drop all this? But think about it, especially parents and single child, पूरा investment into all eggs in one
all eggs.
basket. And then you say, okay, listen, बेटा ठीक है, ये award ठीक है, name fame ठीक है, books लिखे, I'm happy, but one day you have to drop it.
okay,
Now think about it, for me, success has never gone into my head because of this.
because of that. He's always kept you grounded.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So when I get so many likes, comments and all, I say, ठीक है यार. I mean, सबका टाइम आता है, सबका टाइम जाता भी है.
Absolutely.
So my growth has been like a normal person, highly educated, PhD, gold medalist, Mumbai University, blah, blah. Yet at the same time, I believe I'm a knowledge seeker even today.
Okay.
I'm answering your question, but you answer a lot of my questions also. Informally, बहुत कुछ सीखा आपसे.
Great.
So for me, I think there's a long journey yet to go, and now it's a phase of life where I'm contributing. I speak a lot to new people, youngsters. I try to solve social problems.
Okay.
Like, when I talk to parents, I talk to teachers, I talk to spiritual gurus. First phase is they learn from me. Second phase, I learn from them.
Learn from them. Okay.
So I think this Radhakrishnan Pillai, even though he's become a doctor, by the way, I'm not a medical doctor.
Right.
Because I remember one day I was traveling somewhere, there was this, cab vana. The guy was driving the cab. It was a 1 hour drive from Delhi airport till the place where we had a conference. For 45 minutes, he was talking about all problems. मेरा पैर दुख रहा है, हाथ दुख रहा है, सर दुख रहा है. मेरे बच्चों को ये प्रॉब्लम है. तो for 45 minutes, I didn't realize what why is he talking.
हाँ, एक ही मेरे से बात कर रहा है ऐसे.
Then suddenly it hit me, डॉक्टर साहब, तो मैं बोलना नहीं हूँ. So he was thinking, 1 घंटा बैठ के free consultancy मिल जाएगा.
हाँ, exactly. You ruined all his dreams.
So coming back, I do solve problems for not the physical health elements. I've been fortunate with the Chanakya knowledge. I do try to help people, and that's been a passion.
Okay.
So that's my life.
हाँ. So far what I understand is that you're the Three Idiots का आमिर खान. I forgot the guy's name. वो knowledge सब जगह बढ़ता है. फुनसुक वांगडू, yes of course. How can I? But उसके से आप हो जैसे knowledge सब जगह बढ़ता है. खाली ज्ञान बटोरना बाकी है. That's about it. That's great. Okay, so I understand that you come from a very secular family where a husband goes to the wife's house. That's amazing. Like something very. I see that you've told us that you're married. Your dad was your the way you speak. I understand he was your spiritual guru.
First spiritual
guru. Okay, and it becomes very. Was it difficult for you to have your father and being an only child? कि जिसके अंदर वो आपको philosophical तो इतना सिखा रहे हैं. But at the end of the day, he is also happy कि हाँ मैंने आपने इतनी सारी books लिखी है, आपकी इतने fan following है, पर आप छोड़ोगे कभी. Did you think in that particular aspect कि आप वो करने वाले हो, या spirituality के आपके ऊपर क्या thought process है?
Kabir ji, I'll tell you, spirituality का definition change हो गया मेरी life में.
Is it okay?
So I'll tell you, a lot of people think spirituality is equal to rituals. Maybe rituals is a part of it. कहीं मंदिर जा रहे हो, कहीं मस्जिद जा रहे हो. You have a ritualistic way of looking at things, you know, that you do, or maybe read a book, attend some spiritual discourses. ठीक है. But I think he taught me spirituality is a way of thinking. जैसे मेरे को किसी ने पूछा था कि you know, how does your mind think? A lot of people think, okay, ये चाणक्य जैसे सोचते हैं.
Yeah.
But many people don't know that I think that everything is divine.
Yeah.
So मैं सब में भगवान देखता हूँ.
Okay.
Now, how did this training come? My father used to always tell this, you know, that in life, spirituality is not about religion. It's not about custom, traditions. Also, the way you look at things. So, if I've been very fortunate to, you know, be with lot of realized saints, masters, spiritual gurus. There are two categories. अगर मैं संस्कृत में बोलूँ तो one is called the people who are the category of panditya.
Okay.
They have read a lot of books. They can give a lot of discourses, and they're good at it. But the other people, they may not be highly educated, but they are very different in a spiritual way. I mean, they do their own social service and things like that. So I realized one thing, that if you are spiritual, then you should actually embrace the whole world as your own extension.
Extensions, yeah.
So coming back, my dad's idea was that, you know, you should not be miser in your heart or your head.
Right.
देने को शुरुआत करो. And since you asked this, is one more statement I remember, which has been my guiding principle.
Okay.
See, a lot of people think I'm an Indologist.
Okay.
An Indologist is a person who studied Indian wisdom.
Okay.
Chanakya, in yoga, Ayurveda, Mahabharata, Ramayana, वो तो पढ़ते रहता हूँ.
Yeah.
But my father told me, if you only study about Indian culture and Indian wisdom, you are a limited person.
Okay.
You should study world wisdom.
Okay.
So think about it. Otherwise, you only think, and it's a problem that at one point you can become fanatic.
Okay.
I always believe that patriotism is a great quality. But patriotism doesn't mean American is not patriot.
Of course.
A Japanese is not patriot. So why can't I be proud of an Indian and study my Indian scriptures, Chanakya, whatever? But when I look at somebody coming from Latin America, I mean, he's also spiritual, right? Somebody coming from Germany, they also have their problems. We also have our problems. So my father told me that spirituality cannot be limited to only one particular geography, one religion, one philosophy, one master. So
you have to learn from everyone that is around.
And you have to keep learning forever.
Yeah, learning is something, it's indefinite. Great. So, you know, coming to the factor where, you know, spirituality, I believe, holds such a moral ground in your life, and growing in aspect of it. What made you think, okay, now I want to get into, of course, I understand the philosophical part. What made you become a factor of Chanakya? You know, that you started writing Chanakya, you started studying Chanakya. Why not Tenali Rama? Why not Birbal? Because I think they were also at a very high standards, and they have their own different aura. जो लोग का जो thought process था वो समझना is like, oh yeah, gives you goosebumps. So what made you select Chanakya?
So I always say Chanakya selected me.
Chanakya selected. Cool.
So the journey has been, I became an entrepreneur almost 25 years ago. And you know, of course, I had my management degree and I was doing a business in tourism. But something struck me, saying that, you know, what is the role of an entrepreneur? Paisa banana chahiye. So you may have a lot of ideas, but a businessman's dharma or duty is to create wealth.
Right.
And it's not wealth for me myself. That's very selfish. Believe me, a businessman is a blessing on the society. Because he gives employment to so many people, he pays taxes. So when I became a businessman first time, I had no formal training at home because I came from a working class family. My father used to work, my mother used to work. To think like a businessman, I had a lot of Gujjo friends.
Okay.
And I started realizing the Gujjos, Marwadis, you know, they have their own way of thinking. And some of these, you know, successful businessmen, multi-billionaires, they're so simple. You can't even make out they're walking on a road. I'm sure you'll find this in Gandhi.
Absolutely.
They're going to dhoti and you can't make out whether he's making 10,000 rupees a month or they're making 10,000 crores a year.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Then I say they're so simple, but the mind is different. So I would say I studied business formally in a business school, but I actually learned business from the business communities in India. And then I realized one thing, they used to always use these words like Samadana, Dandaveda, Chanakya.
Yes.
And then it hit me that India was the richest country in the world because of Chanakya's wisdom.
Right.
And he had written a book called Artha Shastra, which is how to create wealth. I started studying, and we have a formula in this country where India was the richest country in the world. जिसको हम कहते हैं सोने की चिड़िया. And you have the formula in the book, so I can't bring it out.
Okay.
तो मैंने पढ़ाई की. Of course, I did my MA in Sanskrit, PhD, and I realized one thing. देखो कैसे होता है कि दादी माँ का नुस्खा आज भी चलता है,
हाँ.
but we can't glorify the past.
Hmm.
And today my mission journey, my life is to actually create entrepreneurs who are financially successful.
Successful.
Unfortunately, 95% of entrepreneurs fail.
Right.
Why do they fail? Because they don't understand that, okay, all the starting point is good, activity, mehnat karo. Then some people say hard work is not enough, smart work is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But there's a third one in Chanakya Neeti. You have to have financial intelligence.
Okay.
I started studying balance sheets. So I actually am not a qualified CA, but I'm very good in actually reading balance sheets.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so I give lectures to CAs. So it's all a matter of psychology, finance, sociology. And then what happened? Everything combination I found in one person, Chanakya.
Okay.
Imagine a person is so brilliant, you can ask him any question and he's got an answer to it.
Yeah.
That's what interested me.
Okay.
And the interest continues.
That's awesome. Okay, so I got the answer for why you selected. Well, why Chanakya selected you, as you said. I'm gonna go back again a little bit into your past here to understand, because now I know how you're kind of working through it. I'm gonna try to scrape down more of your past now. Growing towards being Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, when you were Radha and then when you became Krishna, how was your life in school? What was your interest like? And you said your mom also worked. So what was she like?
So that India that we speak about, most of you who are from that generation, or if your parents were from that generation, post independence, I think 2-3 generation was struggling generation. I think roti kapda makan was the problem. I think it's not just my parents. I think most of the parents of that generation actually had a struggling time financially. And somebody put it nicely, ration generation.
Ration generation. Yeah.
Ration का generation का मतलब क्या है कि this limited food and there are too many people to feed. The country grew in numbers. When we got independence in 1947, the population of India was close to 30 crores. And now we're talking about 140 crores.
Yeah, it's almost.
And that time, we were a war-torn country, and the Britishers had left. We didn't know what to do. I think most of people and most of us who are in cities or no, they had a background from the villages. I think my parents migrated for economic purposes. I'm sure many of your parents also did that. And the only thing, probably we coming from the Kerala roots, had one advantage over others called education. My father was an engineer of that generation.
Oh, wow.
My mother used to know what is called typing, and that was an asset. So she got into a company. Of course, she worked in a textile factory, and she was very good. So her leadership qualities came into me. My father's intellect came into me. Single child, but not a pampered child.
Okay.
But the thing is that I found that they were, different kind of personalities. But I think 50% from here, 50% from there.
It has to be that. Okay, so you kind of have adapted from both. Okay, coming to how was your school life, your friends, and what was your thought process, and when did Radha added the Krishna into it?
So, I'll tell you a small instance. I remember the same school where I studied, I was called there as a chief guest.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was a great moment because that time we're celebrating 60 years of a school. By the way, my children also study in the same school.
Okay.
And my parents were connected with that school. So
That's
3 generations.
And then it's all in Mumbai, right?
Mulund.
Okay.
It's a school called Vani Vidyalaya. Okay. So I remember when the principal called me, so you have to come as a chief guest. So I went over there. And there were some teachers who taught me. Is this the same Radha? I mean, they could not believe this notorious guy.
It turned into such a
So I was not a
philosophical
bad student, but I was not a topper either. I was somewhere beach wala na. So ये वही Radha है. How come he's become so big? And you're writing books. So the Radha became Radhakrishnan Pillai because of the knowledge seeker. So I think there are formal degrees. I got many degrees. I don't worry about that. But you know what is the best part? Radha is still the Radha for my school friends. There are a lot of get-togethers, and today the generation of alumni meets.
Okay.
I'm sure most of you meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you meet them, say, you Radha hai kya? And then somebody will comment to me, you know what? My daughter is a big fan of yours.
Oh.
You know what? My mother is a great fan of yours. I think why don't you come home? Let's have a chat with my mom. I go and oh. Then they say, तू वही है क्या? I say, okay, एक ही चीज difference है कि अभी थोड़ा degree आ गया. But I think that Radha is still approachable.
Okay.
And Radha can still speak the same language, and we can still go out. और गली में जाके पाव भाजी और पानी पूरी आदमी भी खाते हैं.
No, that's okay. So now I know that what your favorite foods are. Great, cool. So now I know that how.
You have Achija here?
Yeah, we do have Achija here. Very for. I'm gonna have to ask him to sponsor me now.
I'll sponsor. But pav bhaji.
Cool. I love the fact that you're foodie. We're gonna go for a food afterwards. Okay, great. So now I know that who Radha was, how Radhakrishna came in effect. Now I know how Chanakya selected you, and your father was a very philosophical person where you got the intellect from. Your mom gave you the leadership quality. Now you yourself have become a The Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. Right? That's how it has to be. Starting from your first book, I think the Corporate Chanakya was your first book where you had started. What inspired you to write the books? Now I know that Chanakya has selected you. What made you feel that you should start writing the book and going into the training aspect of the corporate trainers?
So somewhere I think it's a blessing again of my father.
Okay.
My father was an author.
Okay.
Also an author. I had written 13 books.
Oh wow.
Interestingly, his first book in Malayalam was Radha.
Cool.
So I never knew this because he had written it even before I was born, before he was married.
Okay.
So when I came to know this, and I said, Papa, I want a copy of that book, Radha. And it was not there in the house. He went to Kerala, found some book in some library, and we republished it.
Okay.
So the writing part, I think, is a genetical blessing.
Okay.
Coming back, how did the first book, Corporate Chanakya, happen? Let me tell you, it's a book that was decided by the publishers.
Okay.
I'm very good in speaking, hai na?
Absolutely. So far, I'm enjoying it.
So I remember, I had gone for a function where somebody wanted me to speak on Chanakya.
Okay.
And after the function was over, 3 people came to me, "Arey, अच्छा बात कर लेते हो, चाणक्य पे किताब लिख सकते हो क्या?" I said, "Who are you, by the way?" So we are publishers, Jaco. People write books and don't find publishers. I found the publishers first. My first book, Corporate Chanakya, became a runaway success. Today it's more than 15 years, and the book does extremely well even today. In fact, I know of so many, business schools in India and abroad where it's considered like a Bible of management.
In fact, I found you through that as well. So first, when I was introduced to Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, was through your first book of Corporate Chanakya. That's how I realized
it's all God's blessing. But the good news is that I've written 22 books. And all of them are bestsellers. I'm not a one book wonder.
That's awesome.
एक सिनेमा चल गई, हीरो बन गया, उसके बाद कुछ नहीं.
Wow.
All my books have made money for me and also the publishers.
And has spread so much knowledge to the people who have truly experienced and read the book about it. And the new book as well. Congratulations on that. The 100 Sutras. Tell me a bit more about that.
So 22nd book, and again publisher. I have a dream for any publisher. I've written with 7 publishers. So right from Jaco to Rupa to Random Penguin Book House, they're world's #1. Amazon has published my books. So I remember every time they come out and say, "Oh, you need to write more books, right? Ek film bana ke kya hoga?" So they come to me every year and say, "Okay, you tell me the idea." I'm very clear I'll write on Chanakya. At least till now, 22 books have been on Chanakya.
Okay.
So I remember this discussion happening and saying that, okay, you have popularized Chanakya, you have made Arthashastra very popular and famous. You should write a book for the common man. I only write books for the common man. Let me tell you, nobody will get bored about reading my books.
Absolutely.
It's not very academic. Oh, Baba. School mein textbooks होता है ना, पढ़ना पड़ता है.
Very simple language.
Very simple. Then thank you. What I didn't understand the concept. So I asked my editors at Jaco. And he said, okay, you got 6,000 sutras and I've done my PhD in that. Why did you pick up the 100 best of them? That itself was a challenge. So 6,000 is actually a small number.
Yeah, indeed. I think not. It's not even 10%.
Yeah. So bring it down to 100, then we bought it to 100 and we bought it to the book form. Now with this particular book, already a bestseller. Without a bestseller, I don't write a book. So I decide the selling strategy first.
Okay. That has to be a bestseller only.
I mean, starting point. It's like 100 crore to banana hai. So a good director will say it's like Rajmouli. I was at IIT Kharagpur. Was it Kharagpur or Kanpur? I teach in some of the IITs. And the person who was introducing me during the introduction told something very unique. There are 2 people in this country who know what is success. One is Rajamouli and one is Radhakrishnan Pillai. I said, why is he comparing me to Rajamouli, the Rajamouli? And they told me later on that not a single movie of Rajamouli has flopped.
Absolutely not.
13 movies or 14 movies, not a single of them have flopped. There was some movie called Makhi.
Yeah.
And can you imagine? It's not only the Bahubalis or the RRR. It's also a movie called Makhi.
Yeah.
How can you have a fly?
I don't think you've seen it, have you?
Not yet.
That's why you're saying that. I had seen that movie in the same thought process as you just said. I'm like, who the heck would make Makhi? But when I saw that movie, I was like, yeah, you know what? Just to even think and formulate that kind of thought process of shooting the whole damn movie with one small fly.
So I'm very happy to compare it to the Rajamouli. But I think what's common is that none of our works are flop. So yes, coming back to this particular book, there's a lot of hard work and a lot of strategy, but the language is simple. And the best part is that if you open the book from any page, you can read the book. And we use the social media strategy.
Okay.
Today we say there is a problem of attention span.
You're right.
I think if you look at YouTube shorts or reels, they're less than 1 minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can read every chapter in less than 1 minute.
Oh, you have kept it that way.
That's it.
Oh,
So I
wow,
said, why
that's
not?
amazing.
It's doing well. So coming back, 22 books. By the way, I'm writing 4 more books.
You're writing 4 more books. Okay, so you're gonna have 26. I think you're gonna beat your own father's record of writing 13 books.
That's already done.
That is actually already done.
My father gave up.
They double, na? That's why I'm hoping that you'll do double. So 26 would be the double part, right?
That was his blessing. I remember initially we used to almost compete.
Yeah.
I used to bring out a book. He used to be very happy. He'll bring out
another book.
Then I used to bring out him. At one point he comes and says, I don't know to write. I said, Papa, please write. No, my work is done. You continue.
Oh, mashallah.
So I think every time I look at a book, I think I remember.
You remember him. It's like now he's gonna take out another book that he has to come across. So all of these books are in the corporate training, the corporate world, the Chanakya, the Sutras. Being so much into the factor of spirituality, have you not thought about writing a book on spirituality?
I would put the other way around.
Yeah.
All the books are on spirituality with the mask of Chanakya. So if reading my book, if you are not becoming spiritual, then I think my book is a failure.
Is it so?
So my ultimate aim of these books is to get you into spirituality, but not directly, indirectly.
Indirectly, okay.
So for example, even in corporate Chanakya, or if you look at many of my books, there's a concept called Raja Rishi. And it's already written in detail. What is Raja Rishi? Think about Raja, leader. He may be running a company, or he or she could be the principal of a college. He could be a CEO of a company, or he could be an IAS officer. They're all Rajas and Ranis of their field. But Chanakya says, what kind of a leader? Rishi, who is a Rishi, spiritual thinker. So I make people think spiritually in the position of power.
Okay.
There's a statement that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Chanakya said no. If you have a spiritual background, power cannot corrupt you. There's a movie I saw many years ago. I don't remember the name. I think it was Elizabeth and one of her teachers was from India. I think it was Abdullah or somebody. Okay. I don't remember. You can Google it. And the story goes that Queen Elizabeth never came to India because she had a life threat. A lot of freedom movement was happening here. But somewhere, she loved India because sitting over there, you have the crown in the jewel.
Of course.
I was a jewel in the crown.
Jewel in the crown, yes.
So she wanted to know about India, and one of these, persons, I think from Allahabad or somewhere, actually went to England, and she was the tutor of the Queen of England.
Wow.
The whole movie is the relation between an Indian teacher who teaches her Hindi and Indian culture, including how to eat mangoes.
That's awesome.
So in this particular movie, there's a philosophical question because once a teacher-student, even though she may be the queen, finally she's a student. So there comes a point in her life she discusses personal problems. And that is something that hit me. And that movie says, that scene says something interesting. Saying that, the teacher, maybe Abdullah, for the sake of discussion, let's call that teacher Abdullah. Say, Abdullah, you know what? I'm the most powerful person in the world. When she was the queen and we are talking about the empire that she used to control globally at that point of time. But I have a problem. What is the problem? Saying that, people around me, my children, my cousins, my uncles, aunts, everybody is internally jealous of each other. Because you may be powerful, but many of them are waiting for me to die.
So they can take the power. Yeah.
So I'm actually surrounded by people who are aspirants of power, even though in their own space they are powerful. They may be from Scotland or maybe England or whatever. Now, I'm not very happy in power. It's a very philosophical question. The most powerful person in the world at that particular time, who is ruling the whole world, is not happy in power because I see a lot of jealousy and hatred towards each other. Now tell me, as a teacher from Indian philosophy, what should I do with so much power? I want to give it up. You know what he says? Very interesting spiritual answer. Okay. He says, you are fortunate to be the most powerful person. Now use that power for the service of people.
Okay.
So seva karo. And that was a very interesting thing. And later on, if you study her life also, she was a person, in spite of all the political uprising against her, she was respected a lot. So think about, you may be a leader, but if you're not spiritual, the power can get into your head.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's what Chanakya is. It's actually spiritual gurus who train spiritual leaders to serve the society.
Nice. Okay. So you talk about everything that you're learning around. To keep yourself so grounded and so humble, you have to have a spirituality that is holding you back and making sure that you're stuck.
And you're also doing it indirectly by promoting Kabir's thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's thank you. That means a lot. We do our level best to do as much as we can, and of course we get some esteemed guests like yourself to come here and share your esteemed journeys with us.
आपने मुझे guest बोला, हम तो घर के समझ रहे.
No, I have to. वो बोलते हैं ना कि सबसे पहला तो मैं आपको ये बताऊंगा कि I'm still right now sitting talking to you. I'm still in the zone. Yeah, that if I'm still talking to you, because I have had this conversation in my head that I'm gonna speak to him. This is what's gonna happen. How Bhakti will be responding, because even she's been always following you. My father-in-law is a great fan of yours. So when I told him that, I'm having Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai on my show, he's like, oh, really? Oh my God, talk to him about this, talk to him about, I'm like, okay. So, coming to the fact that it's that way, and for me to kind of still figure out what to say, it's becoming a challenge. I'll tell you that. The reason is that usually मैं जब इससे बात करता हूँ, I'm very open, I'm very chill. Right now I'm talking to you as a person that I always thought I wanted to talk to. और वो बोलते हैं ना, कभी कभी सामने आ जाते हैं, ऐसा वो अपना
विश्वास नहीं होता,
विश्वास जबान बंद हो जाती है. Usually I'm much of a person that I don't get very nervous talking. I'm very open to all that. But so you're not a guest, you're a family member, and the first podcast now, and many more to come, inshallah. So we'll definitely get to that particular factor. Coming back to spirituality, right? Now I know that your dad was your first spiritual leader, spiritual guru. Who else do you follow in terms of being into? Of course, Chanakya is also teaching. I taught you so much of spirituality. Who else do you follow when it comes to spirituality?
I follow Kabir also.
Alhamdulillah.
So see, if you look at the word follow, see, I'm not talking about the social media word follow, which I do, of course. I believe that you should not be a follower, you should be a learner.
You should be a learner.
Because followers can lead you, but learnings remain for life.
Okay.
So I personally believe that, of course, I follow my father's advice. My mother was a great teacher.
Okay.
And of course, I had formal teachers in my school, colleges. I had teachers like Dr. Shubhida Joshi, madam, who was my PhD guide, Dr. Gangadhar Nayak. Now, these are all people who look up to. But can't I learn from my young child?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why can't I just learn from a person who is selling vada pav? So I think, this following thing is one part of it, but learning is very important. I remember, one of my teachers, when I was doing my MBA, told this, who is a great businessman, who sees an opportunity every moment in everything he sees. I did not understand. I asked him after the class, what do you mean? He told me, come. And he had a car at that time. Let's come, I'll teach you how to be a learner in business. I thought he's going to take me to read this textbook and that book. He just drove me, and I remember we were driving in Bombay somewhere. And he told me, sit on the side. And then he took me, and there was some railway station there. So the flyover bridge we took, and we came back and said, how many business ideas did you get till now? And in 5 minutes, I was like, take to teacher, gaadi chala raha hai. You're an educated driver. And he's still want to teach you business. He's not opening his mouth.
Yeah.
After 10 minutes of, going through that busy street in the railway station, he's asking me, tell me how many business ideas did you get? I said, I never thought from that. Now I'll tell you how I think. He again took me to the same road. He said, dekh raha hai pan patti wala? Can you see his business model? Then you go and he saw a beggar. Bhikari ka business model pata hai kya? And now look at the cloud up. There's a cloud. Can you see business in the cloud? I know what? And then he told me, no, it's a way of thinking. Then he explained to me that the pan patti wala exactly knows the customer ka time kab hai. So he will be there right now, but his business hours is after 10 o'clock. When people come there, post dinner to have a pan. The bhikari exactly knows kaun se car wale ko jaake paisa mangna. They will not waste that time because the signal goes and you have lost your customer. He's also a businessman. And that's when there's nothing that if you have an idea. For example, when I look at Chanakya, we're discussing Chanakya. If I see somebody, okay, he's also doing some Chanakya. So coming back, I think what's very important, I'm a learner and I love that because I think we have to be a good observer. You have to observe and understand things. I think the greatest teacher you'll ever find is your own mother. Right at home, how she manages. So I always tell, especially when I teach in business schools, MBA. So your mother has to be your first role model because she's a CEO of the house, Chief Emotional Officer.
Chief Emotional Officer.
She's a CEO, Chief, whatever. A COO, Operational Officer. She has to do all the operations. She's also the Chief Financial Officer. Oh, Pati, kuch bhi kamaye ya nahi kamaye. She still knows how to manage. And even if you give her 5 lakh rupees a month, she'll come there.
But eventually she'll have some kind of savings out of that as well, no matter what.
And this husband will never know. The secret account.
Secret account वो अंदर से निकलेगा. It will be from some rice dabba that will be there.
But think about it. She's also an event manager. She knows everybody's birthday. She'll exactly remind you इसका शादी है, इसको gift लेके जाना है. यहाँ पे घर पे बच्चा पैदा हुआ है, gift लेके जाओ. But think about it. She may not be educated. She may not be very highly qualified like most of us. But can you learn something from her? Can you learn leadership qualities? Maybe from a beggars community. So coming back, I think I'm a follower of so many people. I like authors, I like political thinkers, I like Chanakya, I like a lot of books. But I think I'm a learner irrespective of all this.
Okay.
So I learn from everyone and I like to teach something of that.
Alhamdulillah, I'm so glad about that. But again, for the fact where I would like to know learning part, let's call it learner. Who do you prefer to learn from? Like, so again, I'm going to keep emphasizing your first spiritual guru was your father. Lucky, very lucky. I wish I had something like that. The second, who would be your spiritual guru that you would go for?
So actually spiritual guru.
Actual spiritual guru.
So
I'm talking about the realm of unconsciousness that comes out of your this particular physical body comes out. And this gets me to one more thing. Your dad used to do 10 hours meditation. How many hours of meditation do you do? 4 hours of meditation. Oh God, please tell me more about it.
So I think meditation is not a process. Of course, when you look at meditation, the first image is, is sitting down with closed eyes, maybe in a yoga asana and all that. That's okay for a practice. It's like, when you're learning to ride a bicycle, initially you're required to go to a quiet place and because somebody can help you to balance it. And then you learn in open ground. But that's not cycling. I think later stage comes when you are on the highway also, in a busy marketplace where you can navigate. So for me, meditation, my father told me was initially you have to sit quiet for 20 minutes a day, watch your thoughts, take a deep breath, blah, blah, blah. And there are thousands of techniques of meditation. There is Vipassana, there's so many. But then he told me that can your mind be calm and quiet in the busiest marketplace? So I do formally meditation sitting in a place. But I think the quiet mind in every particular situation is a meditative mind.
Meditation.
So this is something I learned that meditation is also a state of mind. It starts as a process.
Okay.
So for the beginners of meditation, I would say that 20 minutes a day, if you can sit quiet and calm with yourself, that's a great beginning.
That's great.
People can't sit quiet nowadays.
Even I cannot. I've tried several times, but that train of thoughts is never controllable. And maybe I think what I might be doing incorrect could be the possible to try to control that train of thoughts rather than letting it flow. That's what maybe.
That's why in the initial stage, you require somebody who can teach you cycling or meditation. For me, I'm fortunate I found that particular teacher in my own house. So find a spiritual guru, and that's why I've tried to follow spiritual gurus a lot.
Okay.
From different communities, religions, parts of the world. I remember I was in US once and I met a meditation guru. She is a lady, and I don't know which I think school of thought they follow. She made me sit. I remember it was in Manhattan, and she had this round ball, some crystal gazing. She made me sit, and I don't know what she was doing. I didn't see anything, and she told me, I can't teach you meditation. I said, I come here all the way to learn a different technique of meditation. That's what people tell that you're a great teacher. I said, no, according to my crystal ball, you already have a person in your house.
Oh, wow.
So sitting think about New York, in Manhattan, the busiest place, and here is a lady who's supposed to be a meditation expert globally. And she said, I can't teach you because what the vibes tells me that you're already a meditator.
Yeah.
Your meditation teacher is in your house only. Why are you coming here all the time? So jisse dhunda gali gali ho to ghar ke pichwade mili. So I do learn because I believe that the world cannot be only one type. So I do get inspired by the jokes of Mullah Nasruddin also. And I don't know, sir, if you're not read, I would suggest you should do a show on that also some other time. Mullah Nasruddin was a kind of a mullah, but he taught meditation in a story formats.
Okay.
In fact, I remember the books of Anthony de Mello.
Okay.
I see all these words you should Google. Anthony de Mello was a Christian priest in Bandra in Bombay.
Okay.
And he used to teach meditations through different techniques. What I'm saying is, why are you looking at one way? Why don't you explore multiple way and find your way?
Your way, yeah. What makes you comfortable?
So maybe 20 minutes is not for you. Start with 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then bhakti to put the timer on.
See, I think, I think I'm not going to get myself into trouble by saying anything right now. Don't get me there.
खाना मिल जाएगा.
खाना मिल जाएगा, सोना सोफे में पड़ेगा ना.
मार भी पड़ेगा.
वो नहीं, she's nice. She doesn't do that.
21 years married.
Yeah. That's a pros and cons of working with your wife is that you cannot badmouth because of the factor that she's sitting right in front of you at that point of time. Because when you go home, you're like, what were you talking about?
Well, Kabir, on a serious note, your marriage life can also be a spiritual life.
Okay, really.
I personally have a great family, including my wife and children. You spoke so much about my father, my mother, my parents. But I'll tell you, myself and my wife actually have a great spiritual relationships.
Really?
So the fights we have is not the normal husband-wife. It's an how would we look at this from a spiritual angle? I mean, believe me, to have a life partner with whom we can discuss spirituality is a great blessing.
Absolutely.
So the idea is that I think every relationship should be spiritual, be it friendship in school, college, a business partner, a life partner. So I think spiritual is a way of looking at things. So if you can get divinity into every action of your life, you become spiritual.
Spiritual. So my relationship is more foodical. I think we only talk about food.
Chalega. By the way, food is also
Food is also spiritual. I knew that. I knew when I was having that pizza, there was something spiritual about that.
I went to a temple where pizza bhog chada rahe the.
No way. Where was this at?
I think there's this Pushti Margis.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a community who follow Lord Krishna and bhog chadate. Bhog is the offer. And can you believe I saw this temple with some chappan bhog. And in that, one of the items was pizza.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, it's not the food, it's the attitude. So once you present to God, everything comes back as a prasad.
Prasad,
And India food is a culture for everyone, right? Not just good Jews.
Not just good Jews, yeah.
And we are the one country which actually understands food is also divine, but also it's essential medicine for the body.
Yeah.
So if you don't eat food, it's not just about your calories or nutrition. I mean, there's a saying in the Upanishad, Annam Brahma.
Okay.
Food is actually God. That's why even today, if you look at every culture of the world, you pray before you eat food.
Right.
Why can't food be spiritual and divine? But share the food that you eat.
Share the food and pray before you eat.
Absolutely.
Great. So spirituality is definitely everywhere in the aspect of life that you're coming back to the topic of the book, right? There are a few questions that I want to lead towards there, and I want to see where Dr. Radhakrishnan goes in future. Tell me more about these sutras and what made you select this particular 100 sutras out of the 6,000, and will you be coming up with more books with the other sutras as well?
So yes, you are right. Selecting the 100 sutras for this book was one challenge. But I'm writing more books. In fact, my students are behind me. And they say, why don't you write the whole commentary on the 6,000 sutras? I mean, that's a thought I'm working on because that's going to be a mammoth project. The 6,000 sutras, imagine, it's like a lifetime contribution. I'm working on it. Coming back to these 100 sutras, let me explain to you what the meaning is sutra of the word. The word sutra means sutra. Sut means thread. So let's say you're wearing a shirt, I'm wearing a jacket and a shirt. You can't see the thread, but the whole design is connected by thread. So it's the threads put together. The whole world has got some connecting element. Some people say we are all connected by oxygen. So you are a different person, I'm a different person, Bhakti is different, but we are having a connection of the same air that we are breathing. Maybe we are sitting on the same ground, maybe the same camera. So coming back, sutra is that subtle thing. वो दिखता नहीं लेकिन है. So Chanakya actually wrote about 6,000 ideas or sutras or formulas how to run a kingdom. So for example, if you have a chairman of a company, or let's say you have a captain of a cricket team or a sports team, his or her objective is to win the game. But वो सोचता कैसे? So a lot of people say toss किया. That's not enough. He first studies the pitch. Okay, if I win a toss, then he says, okay, this particular player has to go and play first or ball first or bat first. All his thoughts. Now Chanakya actually said, how do you make this whole society, all human beings happy? But happiness is not by just, it's not the formula. You have to work through it. For example, what could make you happy 10 years ago may not make you happy today. And what makes you happy today may not make you happy tomorrow. So what did Chanakya do? For different stages of life and for different persons, the happiness differs. There are some commonalities also. For example, let's say, if you are a student, and so all of you and all of us were students at one point in time. I think for that time, success meant, maybe topping the class or cracking an exam. Maybe second stage is getting a campus placement. And after that, getting good salary. But then, how do you become a good student? I've written a book called Chanakya in the Classroom. And you'll be surprised that I know so many people who come to me. But this book is Chanakya in the Classroom, which tells how to be a good student. And I know students who are average and they top the class after reading the book. So for them, then of course I've written books on, how to be a good parent. A student is yet trying to settle his career, but a stage comes when somebody gets married and parenting is a challenge. How to become a good parent? So this is a sutra for that also. Suppose you are, let's say, a politician. How do you make, let's say, you are in Kandivali, this whole constituency and you are an MLA or a corporator. Now you may think your rasta theek karne se ho jata hai. No, today they also have to go on social media. So what are the formulas? So I'll just give one example on parenting because that's one formula I'm going through. And it's been amazing. In fact, a very famous quote on parenting, and I will quote in Sanskrit and then Hindi and English. Prathama Panchavarsha, first 5 years, love the child unconditionally. Lalayata. Child is small, innocent. You see God in the child. आपका latest mobile भी तोड़ देगा, कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
नहीं कर सकते हाँ.
But what happens, interestingly, that's the first stage of, the child's upbringing. After that, for the next 10 years, 5 plus 10, 10 to 15 years, you have to discipline the child. It's called Tadayati. Now, Tadayati doesn't mean physically hitting the child. Of course, from time to time, mothers also hit the child. But the thing is that correct the child, what is right and wrong, where the logic is going. And after 15 years, consider the child as your friend. In our country and our culture, it's very interesting that the child, even though he's grown up, the parents still think mera bachcha hai.
हाँ, true.
And the West is other extreme. You start thinking about the child as an adult even when they're children.
They were their child. हाँ.
I remember I was in one of those so-called 5-star hotels, maybe in Goa or somewhere, and I was having a breakfast. I was surprised that, there was a small child, maybe hardly 2 years old, and they were these European parents. Look at the culture. They were actually teaching the 2-year child or maybe 3-year child to eat with fork and spoon.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. I mean, nothing wrong. That's a training. But in India, if the child is 15 years old, also the mother will feed the child.
Going and feeding.
So somewhere it has to be balanced. And I personally believe it has helped me because today is a generation of reverse mentoring. Can the parents learn from the children? I mean, how long can you keep, training the children? They are grown up, they are married, they are settled, and you don't want to learn from them. So I think that has really helped. It's a sutra, it's a formula. After 15 years, the child becomes your friend. And parenting is a role that ends. Unfortunately, parenting becomes your identity forever. मेरा बेटा कितना साल का है? 60 साल का है. बेटा ठीक है, he's your son. But have you grown out of the idea that he doesn't require parenting?
Right.
Maybe you require grandparenting.
Probably because the thought process that kids nowadays hold is much faster. जो thought process है, जैसा time जिस हिसाब से जा रहा है. I think I remember when I was growing up, when I was at the age of 10 or 11. I still remember just playing around and मट्टी में खेल के आए वो था. आज के लिए 10 or 11, I think, like we spoke about that, met people or kids. Let's not even call them people. Let's call them kids who are 7, 8 and they're already millionaires because they have so many avenues that is open for them. And maybe sometimes I feel like some of these kids, they're like 5, 7 years old and they're singing so beautifully, they're dancing so amazingly. It's like the rebirth is happening. क्योंकि ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता ये बच्चा पहला सोल लेकर आ इतना सारा उसको आ रहा है. So it's I love the fact that you said you have to learn and you have to become their friends when they become when they become 15. But what about the factor that being in India right now, we're still a lot behind from Western culture. Because Western culture के when the kid turns 18, they most likely end up leaving home. They have their own identity. वो खुद का job कर रहे हैं, खुद का घर rent पे ले रहे हैं. But I think we have still not reached that level of thought process. So what a parent can do here and how can they learn from the sutras to adapt the being the friend of your kid rather than being a parent?
So the word for that is mutual respect. So I'll tell you, you spoke about after 18 years in the West, the children live in India. I mean, is it right or wrong? I'm not here to judge. Maybe after 18 years, the child should become responsible. But that doesn't mean you have to leave your parents. I believe in what is called family culture. What is family mean? You can have 3-4 generations staying together. So I would say that the parent should train the children to become independent, but the children should not say that now I'm independent, therefore I'm out of the family. I mean, that's the other side of it. I mean, I've seen that especially business communities. I've seen that in Gujaratis, I've seen that in Marwadis, in Sindhis. Everybody is well doing, but they stay together. They have their difference of opinion. The house is a place where you can actually agree to disagree.
Actually, yeah.
So why can't parents and children have different opinions yet have mutual respect? So I think it's very important to know that you may have grown out of your parents' parenting. I'm 40 years old, but at the same time, can I go and sit with my nanima who's still around? Maybe she's 85 or 90, and listen to her for maybe 2 hours. That patience is not there.
No, absolutely. I think it's definitely.
So I think what's important, the age-wise you will mature, you'll grow, but I think what's very important that ability to sit down and listen as a family. So there's a saying that the families that pray together grow together. Families that eat together also grow together. But today, what my concern is that are we losing family values? The family. So today we are becoming more nuclear families.
Right.
There was a time when people used to stay together. I'm not saying that we should stay together physically. I know people who may be in the same house, but they don't talk to each other. The relationship are so rigid. I mean, the only connecting factor for that whole family will be a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, probably the same password. That's about it.
But I know also family, they may be physically away, but they speak to each other. They use technology. They have a video call. I have a student who's in Vietnam. Okay, Now, he is a person I admire him most because physically his parents are in Ranchi and for career reasons he is in Vietnam.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, I was surprised when I saw that he is the first person who is more in touch with his parents than his own brother who stays with him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How come? So it's not the distance, it's the connectedness. So every day he speaks to his parents for 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
He's a managing director of a company there. So job responsibilities wants him to be physically there.
Right.
But he says that every day, शाम को 7 से लेके 9 बजे तक, मैं मम्मी और डैडी से बात करता हूँ वीडियो कॉल. I mean, imagine how much he's connected to a family even though physically away. So coming back to the point that family values is something we should not lose. Okay. And maybe your parents are in a village, or you may be in a city, or you may be abroad. But can you at least come once in a year? And today we have so many people coming back and saying, okay, family time. So family values is beyond just relationships.
Yeah, but see what happens also sometimes is that you do respect that, and like sometimes there is your family where again coming from the generation that I come across, I believe you were lucky you were the only child, right? Now what happens here is that I come from a family where I have 6 aunties and 5 chachus, so it's huge family, right?
Same here. My father had
your father that okay.
Oh, they had 8 brothers and sisters. And I got 52 cousins.
Right, same here, and it becomes very challenging because what happens? I'm only talking about my father's side. Okay,
the mother side is different.
The mother side is. So what happens here is that okay, so I lost my father when I was very young. I lost him when I was 13. So I did not really get to know who he was, how he was, because he was the head of the family. The oldest of them all, right? So. Unfortunately, when he passed, I think that's when our family kind of separated because till the time then I remember that he was my dad's name was also Sultan.
Wow.
So he was like the leader, right? So I still remember the time where there was decision being made and they're like, nahi, Sultan nahi hai, apan decision nahi bana sakte. He's the one who has to make that decision. Unfortunately, when he passed away, I think a lot of us got separated, broken down into because the main person who was holding us together was not there anymore. Coming to the factor where in those kind of family it kind of sometimes becomes difficult because what happens is that you are only connected to that one particular person and eventually when you're getting separated, I'm connected to a few of my people right now as well, but not as much as to the others and especially not much to their kids as well. तो खाली जैसे हम लोग ने आजकल ऐसा क्या ना कि hi hello, that's about it, no more than hi hello वो ही नहीं है. What can we do in that particular way to kind of maybe, I don't know if you want to call it fix it, but to get back together that hole that we had together?
I don't think it's a different problem. So I'll tell you, all my videos, most of them, today global, I'm sure it's there.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah,
I think it's spread across the world. Some of the aunties may be in this city or maybe native place or abroad also.
Right. Mostly some abroad.
I'll tell you my other problem, and I have a solution for your problem.
Okay.
So from my father's side, I'm the youngest cousin.
Okay.
From my mother's side, I'm the eldest cousin. So think about it. So but here is where what my father taught me: 2 things. I want to know your role. Okay. So suppose you're elder cousin, you don't show that I'm from Mumbai and he's from a village. Suppose you're elder, you'll be surprised whether you like it or no. Like you said about your father was formerly the head. My father was formerly the head of the family. Okay. Many people don't know elders or maybe age-wise seniority doesn't make you the head of the family. In Punjabi community, I've seen. I went to a very interesting prayer meeting. It was a very interesting prayer meeting where I did not understand because I'm not a Punjabi. So the father's ceremony prayer meeting is over and the son, okay, is greeting everybody, so for namaste. And then there's an announcement saying that, okay, before all of you part, bless this guy, the son. Bless this guy. Now he is becoming the head of the family. And one priest came in along with the senior uncle, daddy ke bade bhai, or chote bhai, chacha ji. And he puts on a pagdi on his head. What is this ceremony? Prayer ho gaya, photo pe phool chadha niklo. Yeah. No, then they explained to me saying that now he's the formal head. He has to take care of 125 members. Wow. So now this father was the head of the family, is gone. Chacha ji is still there. But they say, no, he may be younger than me because वैसे तो मेरा nephew है. But he's technically the head of the family. And he told me that, can we speak after 2 days? That ceremony going on. I was very interested. What is this? So there's a complete rules in our community. Now I have to visit every house. I have to prepare a family tree. And I have to go to the Kula Devata Puja every year and make sure everybody comes.
Oh, big responsibility.
And it's a joy. So responsibility is saying, okay, people are not even aware. See, when a senior person dies, like in my case, when my father passed away, suddenly there's one thing, oh, he's gone because I don't know family. Now, remember one thing, I'm not the eldest cousin on my father's side. So one of my uncles became the head of the family informally. So there's no formal process. So his elder sister's son, okay. Now I was surprised that he was participating every ritual. Everything happened, and then I asked one of my cousins, because I don't understand all these things. I'm the Mumbai one. So मुझे समझा ही नहीं. Then he told me one thing. Now he is becoming Karno. So in the Nair community, the technical word of the head of the family is called Karno, जिसको कहते हैं कर्ता धर्म.
करता है. Okay.
अभी क्या everybody is well settled, अपने independent businesses, yeah, they're working. So the Karno's job is not to give them some job or education. That's all done. His job is to keep them connected, and it's a full-time responsibility. That means he has to go and visit everybody. And in certain communities, the wedding invitation card goes to him first. And कभी भी कुछ problem हुआ family में, he is the first person who will come and sort the problems. Coming back, I learned this, and what I did immediately, I asked my uncle, saying that see, I'm in Bombay, your native place. You are supposed to be the Karnoor, which my father was holding the post. What am I supposed to do? You know what he told me? I'm very surprised. So you don't do anything. I know you're busy. You're a Bombay guy, and you don't have so much time. And Kerala is not like if you go and come back in 2 hours. Suppose I go to Kerala, then 1 week is gone. He told me something very interesting. Well, just remember your father every day.
Oh, mashallah.
I mean, what? Well, that's your duty towards your father. And whenever you have any particular family, you should just give me a call.
Okay.
I was surprised. And then he told me, give me a list of things that they do in the native place which I should know, but I need not do. I'll repeat that. He gave me a list of things that is being done in the native place which I should be aware, but I should not do. Because he's the head of the family. So there is a concept called Kula Devata, the family day.
Right.
I didn't even know what is this Kula Devata. He gave me a list. I was like, okay, your father is not there. We'll go to that temple at the head of the family now. He will do the rituals in my name.
Oh, wow.
Well, okay. Then he sent me the videos from there. I didn't know this. So be aware of it. You don't do anything. My question here is that if you're the head of the family, are you even aware of the family customs, traditions? It may be documented. It may not be documented. It may be formal, it's informal. The day you realize, no, I am the person. So I think if you can take out, I always say, even if maybe 1 week a year, maybe have a get together. There are families which are coming together now. They have once in a year family get togethers. And I'll tell you, it can be fun also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So since you asked this question, I did this experiment with certain college kids.
Okay.
And you should do this if you are going to play a game in your family. So there are a lot of college kids, and I was teaching them management. I asked everybody one common question. So there's 100 students sitting there, boys and girls. I think they're first year BCom or something like that. Say, how many members in your family? Simple question. And Bombay, everybody started 4 members, 3 members, 5 members, 6 members. I said, wait. Can I repeat the question? I did not ask you how many people stay in your house. I'm asking you how many people in your family.
Yeah.
Suddenly, 50.
I didn't even think about that. Because when you asked this question, even I was thinking, okay, it's only me and her.
Now think about it. And then I said, okay, don't worry. You have a family WhatsApp group? Hai na cousins ka. So some person said, you got 80 people there. You got 100 people. One person, 153. You may not know everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But think, they're your family. Now, can you make some effort? And maybe that only takes you half an hour of your lifetime. So let's say you got 80 people in your family WhatsApp group. It could be 20 people also. Cousins ka group also. I don't know what all. Just make a list and you have the phone number in that WhatsApp group. At least give them a call or a message saying that I'm here. Whenever you come to Bombay, when I come there, let's meet up. That's it. Can you at least make a list of birthdays? That's the first family. You don't have to spend time, but you should have the will. Saying that I'm a family which is larger than. I'll tell you, when I did this exercise, my father was still there. I asked him. He prepared a family tree for me. And I was surprised. Now I understood what he told me. There are more than 32 PhDs in my own family. So if Radhakrishnan Pillai has become Dr Radhakrishnan Pillai, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है.
बोले दूसरे भी है.
तेरे से ज़्यादा अच्छा है. And by the way, I realized one thing. One of my uncles was the chairman of ISRO.
No way.
Now think about it. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you can Google it, Madhavan Nayak. In fact, one of my aunties was the governor of Trivandrum. Sorry, mayor of Trivandrum.
Okay.
And Trivandrum is the place where you have the richest temple in the world. If I'm mayor, so suddenly you feel that pride. It's not about your family. It's like, oh, I did not know. ISRO chairman is your uncle. Okay, somebody the mayor. Okay, somebody. So one of my cousins who's younger than me, actually is an IIT IIM and a gold medalist. And she's in a very big post in Goldman Sachs. I have another cousin who is actually in London. She is actually working for the government there. And later on, I realized when I was speaking to her mom, because I'm in touch with her mom. What does she do? She's part of Rishi Short's team.
Nice.
I said, what? My cousin, your first cousin. So what happens is that, you may know your cousins, but you don't interact with them. I would say do something, take one step. Believe me, that's a great thing. Our problem is that we don't understand. It's not just the members that you interact with, but your family is bigger than the members you interact with. It's a larger, maybe it's global also today. Maybe a cousin in Australia
My
could be a
cousin
real
is in
estate tycoon.
Australia.
Pardon?
My cousin is in Australia.
But what was the last time you connected?
That's true.
Maybe he's got some issues that he's not spoken to you.
Indeed.
I have a cousin again, a long distance cousin. He's in London, but he's a very big lawyer there. And he fights some of the big cases for the royal families.
Nice.
Now, I'm just giving you this popular guys. There will be some people who are not even successful.
Absolutely.
I mean, but a family is not about, identifying with the bigger guys. So I have an uncle who is an ISRO chairman. Wow.
Yeah.
But I also have a cousin who is not doing well in life.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me tell you, maybe that cousin's marriage life failed for whatever reason. And he or she is struggling. Isn't it your family responsibility at least to give a call? Maybe somebody has got a cancer. And just give a call and say, okay, everything is fine. Can I support you there? And you may think, oh, cancer, okay. You can't even go. That's okay. But that phone call gives that thing, I'm not alone in this journey. You can just ask them casually, कुछ पैसा का चाहिए? नहीं, पैसा का नहीं, we are sorted. But that phone call, that I'm not alone in this fight, is so important. Let me tell you, if you give, it comes back to you.
Absolutely.
See, in our country, we have this concept called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. I mean, that's a very high philosophical concept. Do you know your family? 40 people, 20 people? Forget 20. Do you actually know the 4 people? So I said, if you can have one get together once in a year, I think you can formalize it. Out of that 150 people, maybe only 50 will come. That's okay. Maybe today you can do a Facebook live. Somebody sitting in maybe Dubai would actually be a cousin that you may require help, and he or she may require your help also. So I think coming back, your father is not gone. But I'll tell you, going away is not physical going away. I feel the real death is when the values of that person is not practiced by the next generation. And repeat this, person has to die. So maybe my father had a longer life than your father. But imagine if he was a sultan and the real term a leader, what did you do to be a good son for him? What did you do? I mean, that should be a question you should ask.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, he was not just a farmer. He must have helped so many people, and maybe he had difference of opinion. But if that genes is in you, isn't your responsibility at least call up one cousin, make a family tree, and that doesn't require your father not being there. Maybe your uncles are there, maybe your nanis, dadis are there, aunts are there. I think for me, a family head is about saying that, okay, I can't think I, me, myself, not I, my career, my life, my house. But there are people who are not successful or maybe more successful. Let me connect. And today, even the social media, the word is connect.
Right, connect. That's what it is. I'll ask you one question which is coming to my head right now. You might find it weird, you might find it interesting, but I think a lot of viewers will connect to this. My family might kill me for this. Did you ever had that your mom had a favorite cousin better than you?
She had only one son.
No, I'm talking about the cousin. बहन का बेटा या चाचा का बेटा, भाई का बेटा, something like that.
That was always there.
Always there.
Because she used to admire so
Look at
many.
him, look at what he's doing.
Oh, it's not about my mother, it's about your mother also. It's every Indian. और शर्मा जी का बेटा.
शर्मा जी का बेटा. Yes, you got it right. That's Sharma ji ka beta.
Why in your family? Yeah. Compared with your neighbor also.
Yet I'm able to find that Sharma ji ka beta. I've not found him yet. But yeah. So the Sharma ji ka beta, you gone through that.
Of course. I'll tell you what, in India, unfortunately, parents have a problem. And I think we should end this with our generation when we become parents. One is called comparison. And the second is called competition. तो 2 बच्चों में कंपेयर करते हैं, देखो तुम्हारी दीदी देखो, अरे ठीक है यार, and then you compete. शर्मा जी का बेटा को कितना मिला? I know. See, this is also a problem of parenting. Please understand, you cannot be equals. You have to be unique.
Yeah.
So if one child is good, so I'll tell you one of my cousins, okay, and my cousin, of course, from mother's side is younger to me. He's an absolutely failure in life if you look at it from a different perspective. So maybe career-wise, he's doing okay, but not very successful. I'm one of the most popular and successful in my cousins group. The local for author, video, podcaster, or doctor. But this cousin, okay, not doing great in life, and I was once with him. And one-to-one में बहुत कुछ आता. So younger to me, but he looks upon me as an elder brother. Okay, so I just asked him, कैसे चल रहा है? You know what he told me? He told that my mother killed me even before I was born. What? It's not the physical killing I was talking about. So, my mother and my father, my uncles and aunts decided, ये जो बच्चा होगा ना, ये आगे जाके आर्मी में ज्वाइन
Oh,
because my grandfather was from the army.
okay.
And because he was born in a house where, the mother said, okay, somebody should be in the army. I could never get to the army formally, but I teach the army. So the thing, I was killed. And you know what happened? So I was trained from my childhood that I should get to the army. And unfortunately, what happened? He did not get to the army, but he was good in sports. Because one of the criteria of army is physical fitness. So he was a good hockey player. So what happened is that in those days, I'm talking about actually 15, 20 years ago, sports wasn't a great career.
Right, yeah.
So he could not get to the army, but he was a great sportsman. He was a great hockey player. He went to state level. But his father and mother used to beat him up. पढ़ाई नहीं करता है, hockey खेलता है, and hockey was not respected. Today cricket we save some money in IPL instead of being a national game. So when I met him recently, he told me something so painful, saying that I enjoy being hockey, and one of my juniors actually is the goalie of Indian cricket team.
Wow.
I should have been there.
Uh-huh.
Now I started realizing that comparison, that grandfather was in the army, and by the way, my grandfather was in the Second World War.
Oh, okay.
So somebody from the family, they blamed him. You could not get to the army, and you are playing hockey. Nothing that sportsman is dead, and he's low confidence. Okay, whatever it is, can you go back? You know what happened? That's my role as a family head, or as a senior brother. I asked him, okay, you used to play hockey when? He's like, okay, my school days, college days, and all those things. Today is 43 years old. I said, why don't you pursue hockey again? He said, abhi to age nikal gaya na. Then I told him a story about, what is that cricketer who started at 41 years old?
I was someone
Praveen.
Not into cricket. You know
Praveen Tambe.
Okay. yes. It's a movie bana.
Praveen Tambe.
Yes.
So Rahul Dravid spoke about him that he started playing at 41. So I said, why do you look at, sports as only a physical thing? You are passionate about hockey even today. Okay, you know what the cousin did? Imagine I'm just giving one tip, saying that don't get upset, forget your parents, don't blame them. That anger will remain. After 1 month, he calls me, but what he told me, I'm going to a competition of hockey at the age of 43. So there is a group of, so he's in Kerala, of course. So there is some Trivandrum Hockey Association. So they have actually a competition for people who are sportsmen beyond 40.
Nice.
And he became the captain of their team.
Wow, that's
So I think my role was not that, he can blame his mother, saying that, if you're passionate about hockey, why not start today?
Start again.
And believe me, got a sponsor. So now India got some money to sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So coming back, the point here is that, what have we done for the family is a very important question. And in the Jewish culture, this is saying, you don't have to save the whole world. Save one person. And you have saved the whole humanity. So try one member of your family whom you think you can at least call up. You've done the greatest service to your father.
That's awesome. That's something I'm loving the fact that how we had started a podcast where we're talking about a spiritual aspect of life, going towards Chanakya, and now from Chanakya we have actually figured out a family functions, how it works with one of the sutras is the mutual respect, and I think this whole thing was about mutual respect that you should have for all your family and friends. I'm trying that recently, and this has happened where I personally reached out to my cousins as well. Actually, I reached out to my uncle. He has 2 beautiful daughters. I love both of them very much. And I personally called his birthday yesterday. And the way we spoke, I felt that kahin na kahin, chalo, I'm being connected. Thoda. It's being connected, and I'm really happy about that factor of life as well. Only thing is that I wish that people would understand that even more often right now. And I think kahin na kahin. सब जगह से ना so our parents, I don't know if we are stuck or if they were stuck in between the life of their parents and their kids, because they were not able to get a lot from their parents and they were not able to understand their kids. आज की तारीख में मेरी मम्मी कभी बोली ना, अरे उसको 1 मिनट जरा कॉल कर ले. He never calls me. She's like, yeah, but you should call him. You know what I'm saying? So that is a very important generation, and I think you may have changed a thought process for me as of right now, that I may try, at least जहाँ तक मैं कोशिश करूँगा, but I don't know if I'll be able to push that onto my kid.
See, children don't listen to you; they watch you. So when my father was doing all these things, he would be in Kerala half the time. My mother used to always say, हर व्यक्ति के शादी में जाता है. He used to go for engagements, any call, and it's not like चलो brother का बेटा है, engagement है. Some people say engagement है, शादी में आएंगे. It's a cost, it's a time factor, but you should land up there. In fact, I'll tell you, we had this heated arguments. Why are you going? And I used to go to every cousin's house. Sometimes 2 neighbors, cousins would fight, but you'd go to both houses. But I tell you, I realized one thing, that you have to have a large heart as a family leader. People may not respond to you. So, it's not a give and take. अच्छा मैं आपकी शादी बेटी की शादी में तो आप मेरी बेटी की शादी में. In fact, I find very surprising people even keep a list of the gifts that you got.
Funny, this we just had this conversation lastly. One of my relatives were like, "Oh, I have the list of the people who has given me what," and I return it when I go to their wedding. I'm like,
In fact, you know, उसने मेरे को 51 rupees दिया.
yeah,
Even if I can afford 501, I'll still give 51.
51 rupees. Why? Because that's what I got.
See, this is a very low thinking. In fact, there's a Sanskrit beautiful, I would say, mantra from the Upanishads. Gananam lagu chetasam. The people who keep counting in relationship are small mind. You should have a large mind, large heart. So if somebody gives you 1 rupee also, I mean, even if they don't give, it's fine. But when you can give, you should give. It is not a calculation. In relationship, if you keep accounting, then you are a businessman. But businessmen know that in relationship, money grows. So don't keep too much of accounting, but remember things. I would say otherwise, somebody has given you, you have to give back more than what they would expect.
Okay.
So maybe a cousin who has not called you, you go and meet him and have a lunch with him. In fact, it's very important that Chanakya, coming back to the point, if you have to solve family problems, there are two solutions with Chanakya. One is called intermarriages. You know, some communities, cousins also get married.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And it's a good thing because maybe you're far off cousins. And many cultures across the globe, they allow that formally also.
Right.
Second is called interdining.
Okay.
How do you come closer? Whenever there's a wedding invitation, please go. I don't know anybody. I see that happening with the next generation. The parents are going for weddings and the children are not coming. And the mother will like, तुम भी चलो ना यार, तुम अपने family वाले किसी को पहचानना नहीं. जाओगे तो पहचानोगे ना.
हाँ.
And interdining, किसी को अपने घर पे खाने को बुलाओ और किसी ने बुलाया तो घर पे खाना खाने को जाओ.
It's like Thanksgiving. US is also a very big factor where they meet up no matter what.
Minimum once a week.
Minimum.
And if possible, every day.
Every day. Oh God. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, we'll start doing at least once a year now. That would be better. Eventually get into that. But you know what? I think somehow I'll probably start messaging my cousins that I've not reached out for.
It will have a magic effect.
I'm sure.
I am in touch with my cousins' children now. You'll be surprised. My cousins tell me, "How come you're connected with my son more than me?"
Yeah.
One message.
That's all it's need. Plus, you're also the Radhakrishnan Pillai, so he must be reading your books too. So it's like somehow he's already connected to you. And one message
one
you
of my
got it
cousins
better.
was telling my teacher reads your book.
Ah, okay.
Popularity has the advantage, but even if I was not the Radhakrishnan Pillai, I should not forget I'm Radhakrishnan Pillai.
Radhakrishnan, or you're Radha.
Yeah.
Right? Even more to it. Wonderful. Yeah. You know, that's so amazing. I think I can keep going with this conversation as we go across on and on and on. Family. I come from a family which is a huge family, and I really do feel that I could have done better job as a person after speaking to you, that I could have connected to my family members more, because I felt a lot of times that after my dad passed, you know, we all got separated, and I feel like, you know what, the question that you asked me, what did I do better to be the better son to him? I'll tell you this one thing as well, that my mom has
ये
given me
record
all
कर
this-
लेना बाद में. Make sure he does it.
So my mom has given me this values, and what I was talking about yesterday was my mother, that she's always been like, you need to make that call. You call that person. Yeah, she'll remind me. Okay, like you said, na, she's a CEO as well.
Chief
The
relationship
CRO, Chief Relationship Officer. So she'll always call. She's like, beta, इसका बोलते हैं, call. I'm like, okay. It's like, you go meet this person. So she's in America, right? So when one of her friends had come to US, come to India, she has sent me some gifts. Of course, the mom, she'll always send me something, right? She knows I love chocolates, so she's always sending me chocolates. So when I went to pick it up, she's like, you tell them, they take good care of me because I'm here alone, and your sister is here alone. So so go and tell them that thank you so much. You know, you take care of my mother. I'm like, really? Do I have to do that? She's like, yes, you have to. So I think that she has kind of put me through that particular ground that no, don't fly. Stay down. Stay here.
And in front of family, you should be as normal as you are.
As you are, yeah, absolutely. We had an awesome podcast journey right now. I honestly did not have any of these things in my list of talking, how it goes. Now, before we finalize the podcast, I want to know one thing, where we know that where you came from, how you became from Radha to Radhakrishna, from Radhakrishna to Dr. Radhakrishnan, and the Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. I want to know, what is your future plans? Are you planning to give up like what your father has said? Where you're going to be like, ye sab ho gaya, abhi I want to become 12 hours of meditator? Or are you going to completely go into spirituality? Or do you have more books in mind to write?
I tell you, I'm a very clear thinker. I have a life plan. So, you know, After my father left, both my parents are no more. Initial reaction was sadness. Which hota hai because
Actually.
somebody who is a role model of yours is physically not there. But something strange happened at psychological level. You are with him yet not with him. The strange feeling. You miss him because he's physically not there, but he's more present with you. So, my clear thinking is that right now I cannot be a full-time meditator by choice because I have a responsibility of a husband. So please understand, spirituality doesn't make you irresponsible. I evolved so like a Buddha would decide ki chalo chhod ke jata. I still think that I have a role to play for my family, a physical family, immediate family, which stays with me, my wife, my kids. I have a responsibility towards my in-laws also. For me, my family is not only my generation. When I look at my wife, I really admire my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and her sisters. Isn't that your responsibility? And they are married, they are settled. So I said, no. I think till my children grow up and settle, that's a typical Indian parenting. कि जब तक बच्चे settle नहीं होते. I'm not even concerned about the marriages because that's their choice. But in Indian culture, that's a big responsibility. So maybe therefore the next 10 years I'll not run away.
So you're still there. We're gonna get another 10 books out of you.
So that way I think I'll be a family man. But at the same time, I think I want to live more for my family.
Okay.
I want to spend more time with my family because the kids are growing up. They have intellectual questions to answer. Wife is also doing a PhD right now.
Oh wow.
She's the businesswoman.
Oh nice.
So I think I need to see her success also and maybe what I can contribute. Compared to books, I think that's a no-brainer.
It's all
Books to hota hai. People ask me, when do you find time to write books? I said, don't worry about all that happens. It's a download. So how many books the publishers will come? Today morning only I had a call saying the next book kab de rahe ho? So I'm writing one more book and said, okay, I'll give it in 3 months.
Okay.
The fastest book that I've written is actually in 1 week.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a seasoned factory.
अच्छा ऐसा आया topic बना रहा था.
Because I don't write books, I type books.
Yeah, type books. Yeah, absolutely.
And at the same time, I've got a lot of time. I can still come for the next podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, you gave me another topic while you were just talking about that was a marriage that you told that I have 2 kids. I'm not much concerned if they want to get married, if they don't want to get married, because that is the whole new era that's coming across of not getting married. And we'll have that for the next podcast.
So here is an interesting topic I'd like to leave with.
Yeah.
People want weddings, not marriages.
They want weddings. They want the Karan Johar wedding, full of life.
So, but the thing is that, the connect. So I'm saying weddings are important. We are spending billions. And it's a big industry by itself. But marriages are actually between 2 people who are committed to each other's vision in life. They're not committed to each other. In fact, I read this in Anthony de Mello's book. What is love between a husband and wife? Not looking at each other, but together looking at the same goal.
Same goal, yeah. And connected spirituality.
Absolutely.
Like how you said. Amazing. I am so blessed right now today to have you on this show.
I'm also feeling blessed.
Thank you so much. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this podcast for today. This podcast has been very unique. I feel so because I have literally glanced through all of his podcasts, made be with Ranveer Alavadia, a few other amazing podcasters that I have come across. I personally feel, of course, सबको अपना अपना सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि मेरा podcast आज के लिए सबसे best था. Thank you so much, right? So I felt that we got connected more to the Dr Radhakrishnan Pillai, and we got to know who Radha was before he became that. So I really hope, and now we know his nickname as well, thanks to Kabirr Vani. I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast, and if you guys are still here with me, please go ahead and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and we'll meet again till next time.